only within the sports?
No,
Okay.
no.
Because like you said,
It just
ways.
gets, it's a good, it's a good population for us to start and to get buy-in with some of the coaches. Because I think like all of the coaches could buy into the fact that they want their kids to be substance free. I think, there's been incidents where, they can't finish out the quarter their time. And so I just think it would be a good program for them to start their quarter with, or their thing. So it is a way that we could implement it pretty easily without a lot of extra labor and a lot of extra work from them. And so we're always looking at that when we ask the schools for buy-in, like what more work are we going to place on the teachers? And so we want to be very conscientious of that too.
The question I have
yeah.
is then, is there any research out there on what income brackets the drugs and alcohol are affecting more than others? Or is it even across the board?
There isn't really data for that. I think we could probably guess where it's probably, there's risk and protective factors. So you have parents that are, maybe don't have the resources to put their kids in, all the activities.
And that's
We
what
have
I'm thinking.
single parenting. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things. I'm careful not to say exactly like
I know.
one, because I'm a parent of 5 kids and, we often wonder like, well, they all drank the same water, they all ate the same food, and here we are. So I'm careful not to
I respect
put that.
No, I'm sorry.
on anybody.
As you're going on, I'm thinking that, just are we hitting the right demographic? I don't want to say demographics, but you know what I mean?
Age group? Or?
Age group, yes.
Mhm. So I will tell you this, that I went to the county commission and I have taken another prevention program to them. It's called Preventure. And we are wanting to implement that in the 6th grades.
Spencer? Yeah.
Well, I think we're talking about a lot of really good stuff here, and I'm just, reading the programming and all that sort of stuff, and it talks about, alcohol, tobacco, marijuana. And I know that the opioid funds, they need to be used for opioid remediation, prevention, treatment. And so I just want to make sure that if we're spending the money on these things that we're being compliant, otherwise, because we have to submit an annual report and all that sort of stuff, that it's qualified. And so,
Who determines that?
it kind of loosely says, you look at the Exhibit E of the opioid national settlement, they have all these exhibits, and Exhibit E is the one that you can use them all for. And it just says, prevention programs, right? And so I'm thinking it's supposed to be opioid specific. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, it is for across the board. It's for prevention. They do have a specific opioid one,
think
not
what
in
you
that.
got here, I like the idea of what you
So there is this Prevention Plus Wellness does have a specific opioid thing. But the problem of it is I can't get into schools to talk about opioids as fluently, but I can get into the schools and talk about vaping and alcohol and things that lead to opioids. So because I've been told, like, if we talk about it, we're going to give them ideas. And so my goal with the what I do for the opioid money is that I am trying to get into to do Narcan training with all the seniors in high school, because I just feel like when they leave their home and they go to college, if they can at least have that training to know, like, if they do get a pill and then talk about why we don't do that. But I can't get in. I can get into a school and I can talk about, medications, why they're important to get help taking them, and why we have a parent help us. But it's not usually. Vaping is one of the first things, and then there's alcohol introduced or marijuana. I've heard stories where, they smoke it together as families. And so it's complex, and I'm not saying that this is going to solve all of our problems. I am wanting to do something to be able to get education and information to people younger. I know freshman is late. Sixth grade is great. Fifth grade would be great. Fourth grade would be great. But there's also some kids know a lot more than other kids. And so you have to be sensitive how you're presenting that information. And
Is this grant just a one-time thing, or is this all we get, or are we getting it another year? Or
I think
settlement?
we've received the bulk of the money that we will. We might get a couple $100.
So
that
what
will trickle in.
happens? You're afraid that if we don't spend it the proper way, that we may have to pay it back? Is that your concern?
Possibly, or you have to report it in a special way if more than,
Okay.
if you don't use more than 85% on opioid remediation programs, or all of the list, the entire list that's in Exhibit
Okay.
E of the national settlement. And so if there is an opioid piece of this, I think we're fine. Just making sure that, and maybe,
Because I
Because the
kind
county
of like
just-
what you put out here. I mean,
My concern, why, with her saying that she can't get in to talk just about it, that to me is ridiculous.
then that's
Well-
who's saying as superintendent?
and
or-
it depends on the school district you're in. Administrators don't want to take heat from parents about allowing people to come in. Now, my Benson County school would take me every day of the week out there. But they know they have a problem, and their problems are quite obvious. And I think, I guess I haven't really had the conversation exactly why the mindset is. But we have different community norms, and, you have to look at the problem and be willing to really be honest that you have a problem in order to try to get some help. And that's, and I think they're busy with a lot of other things, but when you talk to the people, the police department and Officer Dallas and some of the other people that are involved with the kids that are struggling, it is something that's needed. It's a problem. And I know that, we can't go into the treatment area with our funding. We have to keep it within prevention. And I would love to see, by implementing these things consistently, can we change the norms as the kids grow up? And then, give them, and I don't love the online things. And it might be my age, but I feel like kids look at screens a lot. And so I would prefer to go in and do the prevention face to face, because then they have another human, another person in here in this town that they can come to. I always tell the kids, I'm on second floor of the courthouse. Let me know if you, but I also like the idea of having someone trained within the school, because then they have somebody within the school that's trained. So when we did our prevention for the sixth grade, called Preventure, Bradley Davidson, who is the in-school suspension, the prevention mentor at the high school, is currently using it. We took it 2 weeks ago. He's already using it with students there. And so I want to give him tools in his toolkits to try to help kids. And I also want to implement it across the board in ninth grade. And so
within going in and talking the alcohol, cannabis, you couldn't tell that you couldn't bring in the dangers of opioid usage.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just a flow of it. But this Prevention Plus Wellness has a special opioid curriculum that we could spend the money on. Okay, they do have that. I just don't feel like right now we're at the community readiness for that chunk, because I feel like if I go in and I say, hey, we have this prevention, I'm going to get shut down, because we have more of a problem with vaping and alcohol use or overusage and marijuana, and they lead to the other.
Is this something that the city attorney could look into to make sure we're okay with this, so it doesn't come back and bite us at City Safe if we do?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we maybe want to reach out to the state's attorney's office as well, because Ramsey County got money as well.
Mhm.
So maybe in partnership to make sure that if we take this step together, that we're both aligned on it. But I'm reading Exhibit E here. It says school-based or youth-focused programs or strategies that have a demonstrated effectiveness in preventing drug misuse and seem likely to be effective in preventing the uptake and use of opioids.
I think it's
So
safe.
if this would qualify, then that's great.
think-
I
I
just
think-
making sure that there's an opioid
I
component.
Yes,
believe it would.
yes.
Okay.
And I have those conversations. I went out to a school in Benson County and I threw in, like you need to really know what you're putting in your body. And it brought up medicine. And I said, hey, do you know what prescription and what's,
Yeah.
over the counter? Do you know? And they were talking about it and they were very curious about it. And I think what happens is we're too scared to have the conversations and then they get wrong information or they get information from a friend when they go
That's
to
my worry.
college.
If the school don't want you
And-
talking about it, how are you gonna get them
and-
the right information?
And I believe we can move that way. I have to believe that because, like you hear stories of kids where they get one pill in college and they, were they trying to overdose? No, they weren't. And that's my argument also for carrying Narcan because it isn't just the people that are continual users. It's also the ones that they might be getting a pill to stay awake and study. And then if you can have it in your dorm room and never use it, thank God. But if you do need it and you can save someone, then I would rather have them have that than go through the trauma of losing a classmate and they couldn't do anything. And so that is also why I don't love everybody having to come to the courthouse to get Narcan. That's why I wanted it in the community because we saw when we went to the car show last year that we had a table and we had Narcan there. But after we left and the ambulance were there, way more people walked over to that and got it because people are worried that I think you're a drug user because you're taking it. You might be taking it because you need it or you need to protect somebody else. I went to all the motels. I'm like, do you want this? And they're like, well, and some of them were like, we don't have that kind of clientele. And, and I said, well, like, do you care about possibly your worker that goes in there to clean and get something? And, would you want to just have it here? And some of them are we don't want the liability. And I just think it's better to have it than not have it.
Mhm.
So if you guys are supportive of it, I think just a motion concurrence with the strategy contingent upon attorney
Approval.
concurrence. Yeah.
Okay,
I think that would be good.
let's wishes.
Spencer said.
Well, you'll make the motion?
Yep.
Okay. Commissioner
Spencer
Eulichamp?
said, yeah.
Okay. Mad here, okay.
What you do is important.
And
Commissioner Pierce, you second it, correct?
Spencer, I will forward you the email with all of this stuff that I got from the Chudley is his name.
Mhm.
And he lost his brother to alcohol. And so they started the program. And it says that Prevention Plus Wellness prevents and reduces alcohol use, vapes, marijuana use, non-medical opioid use, substance misuse problems, driving under the influence, while promoting activity and sports, healthy eating, getting adequate sleep, controlling stress, setting multiple health goals, and positive self-identity, mental and physical health. So on that sheet with all the money, there is a thing for the goal tracker. They're just now creating that. So that would be something that we would add on for the kids. Like, this is your prevention, and then, that class could help them track their goals or continue them using it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's,
any-
yeah.
Any further discussion? If not, this is a financial, so roll call.
Commissioner Eulichamp.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Kanowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Hash.
Aye.
President Moe.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you for the
Yeah.
very good
And
update.
I will hopefully be able to come back every quarter, or maybe when school starts next year,
Sure.
just to give you an update of what we are working on over the summer and what we have in place with the program, just so you guys know. But I wanted to, the younger kids, I'm still working on. I'm thinking about something called My Amazing Brain, just for them to, but I think we need to do a real comprehensive thing in the school.
Well, good luck to you on that.
Yeah.
It's scary to have to
Is there-
think that
is
our
there
young
anything-
kids,
Is there anything we can do in the city to make something like that mandatory that the schools should let them in? Or is that a
I don't
county?
know, that's
Is
the
there
school
anything-
board that you will have to
Yeah,
deal with that.
and actually I would not prefer that.
Okay.
I'll just, I like to use honey instead of any, and I think that they're, you know, we can work towards that as we go forward. And if it's not something that is, implemented here, I am gonna, you know, I'm still gonna go around to our communities, our other counties. And I think once we show that the kids enjoy it, for one thing, and that it's promoting health, that I think that we can get more buy-in. I really do. So,
Well, thank you, Cindy.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. Next item, we'll go into commission portfolios and we'll start with Commissioner Kanowski.
Mike, utilities.
Nothing for utilities tonight, Commissioner.
That's it. That's all I have.
Okay. Simple. Okay, Commissioner Hatch.
Mike, anything from
We gotta get more
sanitation?
work for that, chief.
Nothing for sanitation tonight, Commissioner. Just an update for the commission. Probable assessment letters have been sent to property owners that are impacted with the Highway 2 frontage road, as well as the South Side Mill and Overlay projects. So if you're approached with that, if anybody has any questions, please direct them to engineering and we'll get them addressed.
Rob?
Assessment notices will be going out end of next week. I did a coffee time with Eric that played this morning. We're going to get a copy of that and probably keep it up on our page, especially once those notices go out, so that we have something that we can direct people to, just for some information on what the purpose is of them, what the appeal process is, and just, you know, because it's new and everyone's getting them. So just if anyone has any questions once they get those, please reach out to me. Let me know. We can go over their property values. We can work through all that and make sure everyone understands what's going on, what the process is. The other thing I have then is also just another courtesy reminder. Primary residence credit application period closes on April 1st. So if anyone owns and lives in their own home and they haven't done that yet, make sure they're getting that application done, because that is a hard deadline. And that can save you up to $1,600 on your property taxes. But other than that, I've got a few things on the agenda later on, but that's all I've got, unless you have questions.
When it comes time, okay, if somebody's paying their property taxes through escrow in their house, and it's showing on your statement every time you get it that they're being paid in full, how do you know how do those tax credits go into affecting that payment that you're paying through escrow?
That's going to depend on your lending institution. Like personally, I had to request a review of my escrow this year because they didn't apply it. They took my taxes before the primary residence credit was applied. And so I had to ask for a review, which they did a review, and then they adjusted it accordingly.
Okay.
But that's going to be dependent on the lending institution and how they apply that.
And somebody asked me, so I just wanted to.
Or you'll get a check back from your escrow for your
Mhm.
excess.
That's what happened.
I
They
got a
they
check.
didn't get it last year.
Yep.
So,
I got a check in the mail and said, whoa.
So
Yeah.
essentially, so essentially the escrow companies are taking the tax credit, earning interest on all the tax credit money, and then giving it to you at the end of the year, but they had it the whole year.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Dominic?
Actually, I have quite a bit. So we'll start with the.
You're on only 5 minutes. No.
I can try.
No, I'm just-
So our passenger numbers, as of right now, we hit another record, possibly over 800 passengers in the month of February, which is an all-time high. We recently just got new furniture at the Devils Lake Regional Airport. It is now leather furniture rather than the old wooden chairs that we used to have. We got them free from Fargo. All we had to pay for was the shipping, which was the price of one of those chairs brand new. And then the final thing, because UPS did shut down here in Devils Lake, we lost our cargo airline, Bemidji Airlines, which they have moved to, I believe it was Grand Forks. But then the big thing, which I asked Spencer to add into your guys' agenda, was the state recently did a annual economic impact for the Devils Lake Regional Airport. They basically took the jobs that the airport had, including TSA, Devils Lake Aero, and then the Devils Lake Regional Airport as well. And also the money that's brought in from general aviation visitors and commercial service visitors. Adding that all together, the airport brings into the city of Devils Lake $26 million annually. Is there any questions about?
That's a nice little, wow.
You gotta bump that up, man. Come on.
Try.
No, that's
You
awesome.
know, that's a huge amount. That's a
Yeah.
huge job. Well done. I like this spreadsheet. I like
This
this.
was done by, I believe it was KLJ. The state paid for every airport to get their economic survey.
colorful, too.
I'm pretty sure next week when I'm at Minot for the Fly-in-D conference is when they will discuss every airport in full length.
Okay.
Is that comparable to other airports in their general size and vicinity?
I will, more than likely, the best comparison would be Jamestown, but I'm not 100% sure is what they are. I'm pretty sure they're releasing all the information next week.
Sure.
Will theirs come out like this so that we can compare it? Because I think we're gonna outdo them.
I believe so. I think it
Good.
will. It's either gonna be on that or the North Dakota Aeronautics Commission's website.
Be real interesting to know that.
Mhm.
Dickinson and Williston too.
I think Williston and Dickinson will definitely be a lot higher because I know Williston's, I think, the fourth busiest airport in the state of North Dakota.
I read something the other day that they did not like flying into Dickinson. Is there some, what do you know about Dickinson? They said it's just like not a nice airport.
Well, I think they just did a terminal renovation.
Oh.
When I drove by it last year, or actually no, 2 years ago, during my internship in Minot,
Yeah.
it didn't look like a bad facility at
Oh.
all.
Well, maybe they were used to a bigger airport compared to. But I thought, oh, Devil Lake, we got pretty, got pretty
Dickinson's
nice.
just out of town. It's
Huh?
like 10 miles south.
Dickinson's. is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not close to town.
Maybe that's got something to do with it too. Who knows? But his thoughts on it weren't the highest. But anyway, I wanted to write him back and say you should have flew into Devil's Lake. So, great. Good numbers. Any questions of the commission?
I don't have anything else.
That's all it?
Yep.
Commissioner Eulenkamp.
Thanks, Dominic.
Mike Streets.
We survived the snowstorm of almost 2 weeks ago. Crews are still out doing some cleanup as far as mailboxes and some of the routine maintenance items that they're working on. I do appreciate that the city crews between the various departments, sanitation included, sanitation, utility, streets, were able to work together to coordinate that effort, make sure that the equipment was working, in a timely fashion to get streets cleared. Commissioner Pierce, I understand you had sent a note and wanted to discuss.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up during my portfolio.
Okay, do you want to talk about it with the street thing? I just
Yeah, we
have some
can.
information put out. There was some,
Yeah.
we received some phone calls, I think, based on the amount of the snow that we received, things went very well, based on the feedback that we received. Some people are upset. I believe some people have an unrealistic expectation related to snow gates. When we have a snowstorm of that magnitude, really snow gates are fairly ineffective. And so there's going to be snow that goes into driveways. And property owners are responsible for the snow that's placed in the driveways. We do have a note in our snow policy related to homestead credit and going back to clear some of that snow ridge once we're back into a routine maintenance mode. Right? But priority is to get the roads clear and open for the safety of city residents. That's a priority. Once we get back into a routine maintenance mode, then we can do some of those other things.
I don't know if you guys got, how many calls or emails or gripes you got about the last snowfall, but
Mhm.
I was getting emails from people and they were they were quoting stuff from the snow removal guidelines, and then they're quoting stuff from what's in our city ordinances, and then other things, and nothing seemed to match up. So that's why I had Spencer print these off. I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, but I think they should kind of mirror each other in a way. So one person's not reading storm mode and maintenance mode on one thing, and then it's saying something else in the ordinance. You know, more of a defined what is storm, you know, emergency storm mode and what is maintenance mode and what applies. So it's all mirrors each other. So there's nobody that can come and say, well, it says this here. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up for you guys to look at and see if
You
there's something
talking streets or parking lots or?
streets. You know, because one thinks that storm mode, because it reads what they sent me, and it says, ticketing of parked vehicles will not occur during storm mode operation due to the inability to notify the public and provide a reasonable time frame when particular roadways will be plowed. So some people are seeing that as, why am I being ticketed if it's storm operations mode? But they're not listening to the radio or looking online where they're saying you still will be ticketed. Please move your vehicles. So there's kind of, I just didn't know if that, you know, if we should look at this. And it's been like this for years. I get that. But I just wanted to see what people's
All our
thoughts were.
ordinances need to be tweaked probably. I mean, maybe our, you know, attorney can read it and see if there's a fix necessary.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I just didn't know if everything should kind of mirror each other so there's no questions in it. That was just mine.
well, they'll question anything.
Oh, I know, but
It's,
if we have, you know,
You
I
know,
mean-
addressing that specific issue though, under ticketing, there's a section that says ticketing within our snow policy. And I think it says fairly clearly, other than emergency routes, snow routes, no parking areas, areas signed to limit parking during maintenance periods, and the routine residential maintenance schedule, ticketing of parked vehicles will not occur during storm mode. Other than the routine schedule. So the person that talked to me was on an avenue day. And I believe she knew she shouldn't be there, but she had other things going on and other issues. We did not ticket on the streets because it was a storm mode operation event. We had 14 inches of snow. We moved into streets after the avenues were cleared to try and facilitate parking on the avenue for people that are on the street. And then we cleared the streets, but there weren't any tickets issued on the street because it was outside the normal maintenance schedule. Then I talked to Sam the next day when we did streets. If a car had been blocked in with a big ridge of snow from the day before, he wasn't going to issue a ticket to them that day because they probably didn't have time to clear the snow. And then any new vehicle that was parked on the street would have received a ticket. But I think working with Sam, he was very understanding of the event and only ticketed the cars that really needed to get moved out of the way.
but I told the citizen that I would bring that up and get the commission's thought process on it. And then I thought just maybe taking a look and seeing if there's any way to make it more clear or mirror it or something. So that's just why I wanted to bring it to your attention.
we can always review them and have a, you know. Is that your wishes to have the attorney
Yeah,
look at it?
please, yeah. That would-
If you would, Jason?
Make a
take
motion for the attorney just to look over.
You don't need a motion. I think we can just direct that.
Okay.
We'll just make sure everything's aligned. Yeah. I just want to make sure you guys you're not asking for any change. You just want,
Just have, make
You
sure
just want
it's
everything
in line
crystal
with what
clear.
we're trying to,
Yeah.
okay.
if it needs to be tweaked, then we can change it.
No, no, some of the sections of the ordinance date back to 1990.
Yeah, we've got
The
issues. I
ordinance,
mean,
the
there's
snow
no doubt.
policy is 2019.
1982.
So,
So like, you know, I did express to the citizen and their spouse that, you know, you gotta listen on the radio, you gotta look on Facebook, on the city's website, on to make sure you're listening for what's going on.
and if they do get a ticket, there is an appeal process, so they have that option. I mean,
That was also
Yep.
expressed. That was also expressed.
okay.
Yep, I did all that, but
Okay.
I just,
Yeah.
I just told them I would bring it up and we would look into what we could do.
Yeah, there were several emails that were unhappy campers.
Jason and I talked about, Commissioner Pearson, maybe communicating a little bit at the beginning of the year to, refreshing everybody's mind on
Yeah.
these.
Talk about it in your weekly reports and
Sure.
stuff like that too. So,
Yeah,
To our point to communicate.
Yeah.
better.
we don't usually get that 14,
No.
16 inches of snow.
That was the
one
whole
day.
thing.
Right.
You get that much snow, everybody is extremely busy and.
Yep, yep.
And ridges, 4-foot ridges become 8-foot ridges real fast. And you gotta just, there's a word called patience and very few of us have it.
I still think the city did really well.
I think so
yeah,
too,
I was
Yeah.
impressed.
considering.
I was very happy.
Yeah. And then when you see cars, I mean, maybe they should realize that they shouldn't drive when
It's
there's a
14
foot of
inches
snow.
It's not like it happens every day.
Cars do not make it through those snowbanks and then they want you to pull them. I have a problem driving, I don't have a problem driving by that. I mean,
Doesn't help when you're inebriated either.
well, that,
We run into that quite often.
yeah, so there's some common sense that needs to be brought into it. But
it was-
anyway,
like I said, it wasn't
doesn't hurt.
to start or blame or anything. It was just,
yep,
do you think we should look into this? And do you think just
I-
review it and see?
never hurt to look at them and verify that the wordage is the way we want it to be.
Thank you.
I can tell the commission, to go from routine maintenance mode to storm operation mode. Many communities, the goal is to have town cleared after a significant snowfall, have town cleared within 24 hours. And I think for the most part, so long as you don't have back-to-back snowstorms, we can do that. The thing that we look at quite a lot is the original town site of Devil's Lake in particular. There's not much off-street parking. And so if we do what we did, where we roll through avenues and then into streets, or we do the streets and then the avenues on the same day, there's folks, especially in the original town site, that don't have the ability to have the off-street parking. And so, yes, we can get through town, get things opened up, but you're impacting them. So we very much strive to try and adhere to that routine maintenance mode where we clear the priority routes number 1, priority routes number 2, the emergency routes, highway 2, those sorts of things. And then, okay, if it's a Wednesday, we move into the avenues. But based on the amount and the extent of the snow that we had and the inability for folks to really move through the streets, that's when the decision was made. We have to do streets today too, even though we really don't like to do that, right? That's kind of it's a call and based on the storm event, sometimes you can have 6 inches of snow and based on drifting and wind patterns, you have to go into storm mode. Sometimes you can have 10 inches of snow and the way it comes through and whether it's light fluffy, you can stick to the routine maintenance mode because, okay, you get through the avenues, you get through downtown and then you do the streets.
Yeah, we understand. It's all weather dependent and it's all, all that, I know. But once Mike spoke to the citizen and I did as well,
It was
it
good.
was fine.
Good.
But I promised them I'd bring it
Yep.
up. So I brought this up and we
Perfect.
can just have a look through and see if anything needs to be tweaked.
Sure.
But nothing against what you guys are doing out there at all. So
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Anything else? On Commissioner?
Oh, I forgot I was on my portfolio.
sorry. I was gonna mention
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you. Now, Commissioner Pierce.
that. All right, Chief Bennett.
So we had State Fair School this past weekend. We had 2 paid staff personnel attend. One took classes, one was teaching classes, and then we had a volunteer that went. That went fairly well. Kids fishing tournament, thanks for helping with that, Mayor Mo. You'd probably be able to speak to more of that, how that went, but from what I heard, it went well.
Yep, it went well.
So again, thank you for that, and thanks for the volunteers that helped with that. We are looking to open up a position this week. We have one of our young guys headed over to Grand Forks. So,
Darn Grand Forks, huh?
yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to get that
What
all
was,
put together.
what was his reason? Just a better opportunity? Or?
His girlfriend lives over there.
Oh,
And,
well,
Yeah.
answers that question.
yep, they got a little bit higher call volume. He's a young guy who wants to get out and do stuff.
Yep,
So,
yep.
yep. Other than that, what we have on the agenda, update for nuisance enforcement stuff. You guys got a report printed off
Yep.
in front of you there.
And I thank you for that.
Yep. Last year, we had 106 nuisances. We were able to complete about 89% of those. So there's about 12 that we're actively monitoring right now. I know the blighted structures was something that you guys were curious about, so in that packet, there's a rundown of all of those. If you want, we can go through each one individually.
As long as they're being dealt with, I guess.
Yep.
That's my goal.
Yep, I actually had a meeting with Otter Tail today about the Swenseth property over here, trying to get that power line moved or taken care of so they can come up and do the construction on that, so.
And the church, what's?
Yep, I actually contacted him last week. He was hoping that people would come and purchase his rocks from him, and I said, well, you need to get rid of the rocks, get rid of the foundation, bring the grade of the dirt back to what it was before if you're not putting a property on there. He informed me that he had submitted a plan to Helen. I talked with Helen, and I believe I emailed, did I email you about that, or was it just Helen? Okay, anyway, Helen is not sure where he submitted a plan to, but it wasn't to her. So, but anyway, I let him know that he needed to get rid of the foundation and bring the grade back to where it was before.
Mhm.
And he said he'll try and get to that this summer. So
Right.
I have his contact information so I can keep hounding him. So if you've got any other questions with properties or some in particular, I can certainly try and answer those.
Just work on getting them completed.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
I will not be able to attend the next month's April 6th meeting. I'm heading to Tennessee to instruct classes for that week, so I will be out of state. Just wanted to let you know. Tennessee, boo-hoo me. And if you could take one of these and pass it down. This is, I'm still working with the architect on the War Memorial. This is a design that I out of all of them, that I thought would best fit our community. It will be a scaled down. It won't be, it looks really big, but it's going to be a scaled down version, a little bit of that. But that's kind of what I'm working with. So I just wanted to keep you all updated on that. Every branch of the military will be represented there. And then we will work with the foundation will be brick.
Where you can, where you can sell bricks?
Sell bricks and have them
I like that idea.
sandblasted with the donator or their loved one that served or passed or whatever.
And where's the plan for this?
This is just the draw. I wanted like to have it in Roosevelt Park, so we need to see what, have somebody meet with.
Well, they got a new director they're interviewing now, so we'll probably have to wait till.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was, because I'd like, and if it can't go there, we'll figure something else out, but just kind of a plot of what size is available to put this so I can work with
That would almost look good at the memorial building too, but maybe there's not.
my view on that would be if people driving by or visitors coming in,
Yeah.
don't go downtown, would be
yeah.
able to see
No,
something like
just
that.
an option, but yeah.
Yeah, but so just to give you an update as to where that's at, I've started the fundraising by putting out donation boxes at some of the gas stations and stuff, starting it out. And I'm going to attend some other events in town, set up tables for donations. This is all once I get the rendering of it. But it's still in the process, and I just wanted to share that with you all so you can see. Other than that, working every day with the company on the banners, keeping in touch with them, making sure they're doing the right thing, and that's still coming along great. So,
Okay, perfect.
other than that, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have. Pending any questions.
Well, thank you. No. I guess, Nate left, but the youth fishing tournament, we had 84 participants, so
Wow.
it was cool.
It was cold.
Yeah, but overall, that was a success, and it's a lot of fun working with the kids, and no fish caught. That's the unfortunate thing, but all the prizes were awarded, and
Was breakfast good that morning?
the breakfast was outstanding. In fact, I
No,
noticed a couple officers showed up after
Oh, really?
the priority guest got fed first. So no, overall, it was great. So But anyway, Chief, how about your report?
Mayor, we had some training that's been going on, like we alluded to last time. Sergeant Graywater and Officer Brock here are doing the second part of our defensive tactics training. They did one half of the department on February 24th. The second half of the department will be tomorrow. We're doing that's at the Lake Region Budokan. So we're kind of renting the space there from the new owner to conduct this training because we just don't have the training and the mats that they have. So it's nice of them to do that. It's a good price too. Sergeant Rodriguez, she's in Bismarck for the last part of her LPO training, and that's leadership in police organizations. And that's put on by the IACP, that's the International Association of Chiefs of Police. And that's a supervisory school. Commissioner Kanowski was the one that started us going to this training back when he was under his leadership. So we're continuing that effort for our supervisors. We're doing an award ceremony on March 21st. No kudos to Commissioner Kanowski, but award ceremony on March 21st, which is going to be an in-house thing. We're just gonna, it's the first time that we've really tried something like this. And our awards committee is coming up with the details on that. So we're going to see how that goes. It's a trial run, kind of an inaugural thing. We also are switching out the protective dome covers, Engineer Grassgard, the North Dakota Telephone Company. So it's not the lights or the lenses on these cameras that are cloudy and that are dirty. It's the actual, I guess, the dome covers that are, I guess, warped maybe from the sun all over. I don't know how many years, 5 years, 6 years we've had these up now. Yeah, so they're going to switch those out for free. So that's nice. And we're going to see if that's the problem. We think it's the problem. So.
And this is for the cameras
downtown cameras. Yeah, there's 6 of them. Corporal Rickson's been in contact with NTTC, so we're going to take care of that. Aside from that, this is kind of overdue, but maybe I should have mentioned it last commission meeting, but I just want to say thank you to Mayor Moe, the City Commission, Administrator Halverson, for all their support in the relocation efforts of the police department. I think it shows your dedication and commitment to this community, to our agency. Thank you. That's all I got for you.
Okay, thanks, Chief. Any questions of the chief? My head just grew. Okay. Gee, Spencer.
Mayor Moe, members of the commission, I provided you the 2025 year-end financial report. Again, I'll reiterate as I occasionally do, the report is meant for you, right? So if there's things that you want in there that you don't have, if there's things in there that you don't need, you just let us know. We want to be as responsive to you as much as we can, so you guys have the information you feel you need to make decision in the right quantity. I'll try to just go real quick, Mayor, for the sake of time. As far as the general fund performance, we went backwards $95,000. We were budgeted to run a $235,000 deficit. So we were $140,000 better than we had projected, despite the fact that we went backwards $100,000. So again, demonstrating the fact that we're kind of topsy-turvy on the overextended on the public safety side and the general fund, as we've been talking about. We'll see how this year goes, but that's a conversation that's not going to go away down the road. In the general fund, revenue is pretty on point for the most part. 36,000 of the $60,000 we budget for mosquito control was used. I know everybody kind of likes to know what that line item was at. We did extensive work. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. So one of the things that we did recently was we moved responsibility for the traffic signals from the fire department over to the engineering department. You know, if we need to go up high, we've contacted and worked with our friends in the fire department. But we did spend significant amount of money on traffic signals with the, I believe it was a software and some other maintenance items that kind of put our capabilities on steroids, and our ability to monitor here remotely has been increased. And so we did go over that line item quite a bit. And then you guys approved some extra budget amendments for the extra tree removal. So there's $21,000 worth of tree removal in addition to our normal contract for tree trimming. Highway distribution, we had minimal use of the snow removal expense line item last year in 2025. Flex Transportation Fund, this was a new distribution created by the state of North Dakota. We received $135,000 this year. At the beginning of 2025, we owed $3.6 million on the embankment project. We received the 1.4 million that was in the escrow account with the state of North Dakota. That was a joint escrow account between us and the Corps of Engineers. We got that 1.4 million plus our yearly buy down of the project at $300,000. So we started, we owed 3.6 million. At the end, now we owe 1.875.
That's a good deal.
So, but now we're going to be chipping about $300,000 a year until it's gone. So we're still looking at about 6 more years of that, staring at that on our books, given the current plans we have. Water fund, we did lose $160,000 in the water fund. It was I'll take ownership. I should have recommended a rate increase to you guys when we did rates and fees. But there was not a recommendation to do that. I was wrong about that. We're still good on our reserve balance. Spent a lot of money at the water treatment plant last year, chemical purchases, equipment maintenance at the water treatment plant. I know Mike has kind of talked to you on a high level, especially Commissioner Kanowski, you're informed on what we were doing up there. So that went backwards, still in an okay spot. But again, probably should have had a rate increase last year. I did not recommend that. So I do apologize for that. Sewer fund, we were plus $47,000 in the sewer fund. Good performance, good overall performance. Rates came in as expected, but we are recommending an additional $45,000 transfer of their equipment reserve beyond what was budgeted. So basically taking a big chunk of that surplus, putting that in their equipment reserve, just because their reserve balance in the operations account is pretty healthy. And we have a big sewer truck that we need to is it a vacuum truck, right? Mike? Vacuum truck that we need to purchase here in a couple of years. So we want to sock some more money away. Same thing in the sanitation fund. We were plus almost $100,000 in the sanitation fund. We did not purchase that budgeted truck because we're going to get the automated truck next year. I'm recommending, and it's aligned with the budget amendment that's later on the agenda, an additional $43,000 transfer to their equipment reserve, as we want to save up for those expenses that we have upcoming when we go automated and we have to buy the new cans, tippers, and new truck. And the operation reserve is at a good balance there, so we feel that 43,000 is a good number to transfer over. Self-insurance fund for our health insurance, it only went back a little bit despite how kind of bleak it looked at the beginning. I think about quarter one, quarter two, it wasn't looking so great when I talked to you guys, but things panned out. We only went backwards about $15,000. We're still sitting at an 80% reserve to yearly expenses ratio on that account. So happy to see that. We already went through the JDA stuff at a previous meeting, and the airport was plus $200,000 on the year, and the airport authority requested that we transfer that surplus over to their equipment reserve. So that's what we did as well. Would welcome any questions that you guys might have. Any comments from department heads on anything? Siren radios didn't cost as much as we were expecting, which was pleasant.
Good.
Other than that,
Nice report. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any questions of Spencer? Thank you. Jason?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Okay. Well, we'll move on. And old business, we have nothing. Consent agenda, nothing. We'll go into new business, and the first item is the second reading of ordinance 1036, chapter 15.28, floodplain regulations. Rob, if you would explain.
Just a second reading. The only thing that changed from the first reading is corrected the ordinance number at the top of the document. Other than that, no other changes. At the last meeting, Commissioner Pierce did inquire as far as the benefits or what it would do for property owners. What this does is this puts us in line with FEMA regulations, so that if there is a situation where FEMA would be involved, that we make sure that we're qualified for that and that we'd be able to get that assistance for the property owners in our area. So that's what this is. It's just getting everything in line so that we can utilize FEMA if that ever comes about again.
Any questions of the commission? What is the wishes?
I make a motion to approve the second reading ordinance of 1036.
Commissioner Kanowski,
Second.
Commissioner Eulenkamp. Any further discussion? No discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 2, a resolution to designate polling locations for the primary election.
Standard yearly thing for every election. Election will be held at the Memorial Building, so designating the location for the city primary election.
Okay, any questions? Issues of the commission.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Pierce,
I'll second it.
Commissioner Kanowski. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 3, award of bids of $960,000 CDs to Bravara Bank and Western State Bank.
Mayor, members of the commission, for the conversation that we had at the last meeting, I did request offers from the local banking institutions in town, and you can see the tabulation, and so recommending issuing a CD in the amount of $960,000 to each Bravara and Western. Confirmed with both banking institutions that these funds would be pledged. And as far as the rates, both were over 4.5, which is higher than the U.S. Treasury as of last Thursday. I went and looked, I think it was 4.43, and these were higher than that. So really thankful to our local institutions, and also they all did express gratitude for the opportunity to bid, even the ones that didn't receive it. So appreciate them and would recommend approval.
I'll make a motion to award the bids to those
Commissioner
banks.
Kanowski,
I'll second.
Commissioner Hatch.
Oh, I do need to add, these are on 24-month, these are 24-month CDs.
Yep.
And paying semi-annual.
Oh.
So every 6 months they will receive an interest.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Eulenkamp.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Kanowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Hash.
Aye.
President Mo.
All right, motion carried. Item 4, budget amendment 25-06, year-end budget to actual.
It's just a formality, putting the year-end budget amendments consistent with the performance that we outlaid in our previous conversation, to include those extra transfers that were beyond what was budgeted from the sewer operations account to their equipment reserve, as well as in sanitation that we discussed.
Does this include that airport? No.
This includes the airport.
Make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Pierce,
Second.
Commissioner Eulenkamp. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Eulenkamp.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Kanowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Hash.
Aye.
President.
Aye, motion carried. Item 5, a request to purchase property in the Roundhouse subdivision. Rob.
So this is the property that we have out in the Roundhouse. Ramsey Brown is interested in purchasing it. It's the last one that we have available right now that's buildable, that we have declared a surplus. So $2,000 would be the purchase price. The caveat that has to be built upon within 2 years. If not built upon within 2 years, the property would return to the city.
Is that a larger lot than most of them out there?
Pardon?
Is that a larger lot than most?
Yeah, it's about 14,000 square feet. It's just odd shaped. It's more of a triangular shape.
So that's why you can't break it up or it would make only
Right.
one, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And there is another lot out there yet too that we have that's about 14,000 square feet, but it's not buildable because it doesn't have any street frontage. It's only got alley access, and so we won't allow anyone to build on that. But other than that, this would be the last property that we would have out there for building. So the other thing that I don't have in the memo, but would also be included, would be the responsibility of any special assessments would also go to the purchaser. So our recommendation would be.
And I think we also want to stress again, the $2,000 down payment. How we had
It's
talked about-
forfeited.
That is forfeited. We are not, just to make sure that the commission is firm with that stance and you're aligned with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I believe it.
In the conversation that I had, I made sure that was very clear with Ramsey. And I don't expect there to be any issues. They've already got a pretty good plan as far as what they're going to do and how they're going to, what they're going to put on that property.
Oh, good. Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase.
Commissioner Kanowski,
I'll second.
Commissioner Hatch. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Eulenkamp.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Kanowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Hash.
Aye.
President Mo.
Aye, motion carried. Item 6, authorization to enter into a contract with Dumont and Associate Architects for architectural services for City Hall remodel. Mike?
Included within the capital improvement plan was an allotment for improvements to Devils Lake City offices and updating some things within the office. Included with that would be ADA compliant improvements, layout improvements, audiovisual improvements to the commission chambers, updating bathrooms, and doing things of that nature. So within the capital improvement plan, the actual physical improvements to city offices had a number. You know, it was budgeted for $500,000, but there wasn't a time frame allotted with it. And so we did visit with a local architect saying, here's some of the improvements that we need, work with them to try and identify some other improvements. If the commission would want to proceed with those improvements, we would have to enter into a contract with an architect. And right now, the local architect, I think, for the improvements that we're talking about in the scope of work that we've identified would be within our bidding threshold. So for doing the work here, we could say local and not have to go through a request for proposals. I think the local architect would be better suited for doing the work at city offices based on the magnitude of the work that we're looking at. So if the commission were interested in pursuing the improvements to city offices, we would have to enter into that contract, work to put together a set of plans and specifications and bid that work out. So with that, I would open it up for some discussion.
So is there a security part of this? You know, there was a couple of years ago when I was still chief, we did a security thing for the front office for the ladies because there were some issues. And is there something other than plexiglass?
It says in their security improvements.
Security improvements
Is there?
are listed, you know, I've listed, you know, the identified improvements that we have, but the committee will be meeting with an architect and there may be other improvements that are identified, but based on the scope within the memo that the commission has, security is one of the items that we have to look at.
Should have read it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think you know, we had previously talked about how we were kind of combining it with the police department, but I feel like in the interest of just getting to action, maybe we separate the two of them. And, you know, we can kind of go local underneath the bidding threshold, where when we go for the PD, I mean, that's going to be a big, huge
I think this
formal
is
process with,
Yeah.
you know, at $4.5 million type of project. So we can get the action pretty quick with this if we're interested in working with the local architect. If you guys are inclined to, again, recommend entering into a contract with Dumont, contingent upon city attorney review of the contract, we'll also need to appoint a committee, mayor, and obviously we have the police department one coming down the road. And so, you know, I don't know if you want kind of the same people on both of those, if you want to spread it out. I would envision mayor on the police department one, since you're the police commissioner, you'd probably be on that one. But then the other ones,
could be the vice chairman.
however you guys want to
Yeah.
do that, but
Yeah,
we'll
but I
probably
think we
need,
should
we'll
have
probably
two
want,
separate.
maybe if you guys want to spread it out, so maybe there's 4 of you instead of 2 of you.
I think, yeah, it should be split.
I agree.
So for city hall remodels, are there any commissioners that would like to be a part of that one? He's committed out.
Looking at Jason.
No.
You know, I could probably help with that. I haven't been on.
Okay.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, you do need a little more to
Shut
work.
up.
It's okay. How about Rob and the chief or Commissioner Kanowski and Rob?
If they're
Those
up
two?
for it. So,
They're Delatold.
We're looking at a couple of meetings.
Yeah.
Realistically, you know, once we have them on board, hey, here's some ideas. What are you thinking? What's important? And, you know, I don't expect it to take a lot of time because, you know, once those improvements are identified, we'll just proceed with that.
Good.
Feedback for the commission chambers would be something we would want some commission, you know, review and thoughts on.
And really, just as far as talking as staff wise, right, Mike is saying, hey, what are your priorities for City Hall? And just so you know where our head's at, and obviously we'll be talking with you guys to see if our priorities
Well,
are the
our
right line, but it
entryway
kind of
is
gets,
usually
it's
wrong.
basically
Yeah,
as you
right.
walk in the door, it's okay, ADA accessible entrance, security, the commission chambers. Okay, and now we're at the carpet and the walls and lighting and immediately, but it's kind of right as you walk in the door is where the priority starts in our eyes. And if we're way off base, you gotta let us know, but
That's gotta make sense.
Just make sure you hit on security, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think with their background, that the next commission, there's the committee they could be on, would be the police department. That's what I would recommend.
Okay.
Delatelle, you're gonna delatelle that?
Okay, so you'll
if you
establish,
could just approve entering into a contract with Dumont Associates and then appoint Commissioner Hash and Commissioner Kanowski of the City Hall Remodel Committee.
I will make a motion to enter into a contract with Demont and Associate Architects and
Commissioner Eulenkamp
Mr. Hash and Mr. Kanowski on the committee.
I'll second that.
and Commissioner Pierce.
I bet you will.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, item number 7 is the release of request for qualifications for construction of a new police department. And one of the things we want to talk about that I think is important is a timeline. We do have an election coming up and how we want it to kind of pan out so that we have how it lists out, so that maybe the voting toward making this happen will occur after the election so that it doesn't look like we're trying to rail something in.
Sure.
If that makes sense to you guys, but so should we, I don't know, do we have a kind of an idea, Mike or Spencer? Have you got some things that are
Yeah,
in
so
mind?
Mayor, when you call me and you told me, is there a way that we can kind of proceed, but have things
In
ready
place,
and prepared so that after the election,
the
we could
decision.
hit the ground running if we really wanted to. And I sent you that adjusted timeline.
Yeah, yes,
I'll read it. I'll
I'm sorry.
relay it to you guys, but
I do have it.
we'll bring an RFQ for you guys at your next meeting for your guys' approval. But really a timeline would look more like advertise it in the beginning of April, have the proposals due June 5th, and then you can review the proposals kind of those 2 weeks kind of near and around the election. And so if, there's a lot of the same folks on here or the priorities of the commission are the same at that point, we've got the proposals there. We can interview and select one and hit the ground running and go. And so that was, Mayor, when you had called me, that was kind of how I tried to navigate what the request was. And so
Sure.
full commission supportive of that. We'll bring it to the next meeting. You guys can review it, authorize us to release it, and that'll be on the timeline that it's going to work.
That makes sense.
Okay. So with that,
Do we have to make a motion for that?
a motion required.
I'll make a motion to release a request for qualifications for the construction.
I would wait. Why don't you just table it and we'll bring it to the next meeting? I think that's probably the most
Okay.
appropriate way to go.
I'll make
about
a
it.
motion to
Make
table
the
it.
motion to table, okay? Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Eulenkamp. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, citizen comment, we have nothing. Informational items, we have that financial detailed report. And the next item is a motion to approve the list of bills as submitted.
Make a motion to approve the bills.
Commissioner Kanowski,
I'll second.
Commissioner Hatch. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Eulenkamp.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce. Commissioner Kanowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Hash.
Aye.
President Moore.
Aye, motion carries. There's nothing else to come before the commission, the meeting adjourned.